In this episode of Fictional Hangover, we talk about angry nipples. Spike forever. Introducing new fans. Me. Nostalgia Fest for the old fans. You. And the Virgin Bus is coming and everybody's jumping. In our discussion of In Every Generation by Kendara Blake. Hey everybody, welcome to Fictional Hangover, a podcast about young adult and new adult books, series, authors, and voice actors that is full of spoilers. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire, and today we're going to discuss In Every Generation by Kendara Blake.
Standard disclaimer.
Squee!
Standard disclaimer is a squee this time. If you haven't read this book, please remember that Fictional Hangover is all about spoilers. If you haven't read or listened and don't want to be spoiled, stop listening to us and go read or listen to the book. Then come back. If you haven't done this but once, pretend that you have, or if you don't care about spoilers, or if you just love Kendara Blake and Buffy so much you don't care about any of that, then listen up.
That's true. I will also caveat that as well with spoilers about the Buffy TV show, because there will be references.
Yes.
But the statute of limitations on that programme should be up. It was in the 90s. If you haven't watched it by now, tough?
Sorry.
Not sorry? Should have caught up by now.
Hey now. That is not a friendly thing to say.
You had time.
I did. But I'm introduced to the world now, okay?
You
I'm here now.
To be fair, the spoilers of the show are probably going to be fairly limited in this episode, but in the bonus... Spoilers.
Well, I mean, and that's what we do best. And it's fine.
That's true.
It's fine.
That's true. It's on brand, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's true. So...
Do you have any background information?
No, because you should just go and listen to all of our bonus episodes with Kendara for lots of good background info. I don't have anything to share today. Sorry.
No, don't apologise. I'm totally with that, because, as you can probably tell, we've already talked to Kendara.
Yes. And we talk to her all the time.
High.
Yes. She's been
that adrenaline.
She's been on so many episodes. She was with me in the very beginning, in the BC times, and then she was with me in my one and only solo episode. Mm-hmm. Well, no, there were two solo episodes, but that one was solo. Mm-hmm. And then we talked about Anti-Goddess.
Mm-hmm.
And then we talked about All These Bodies. And now we're talking about In Every Generation. 5 episodes featuring Kendara. 3 bonus episodes with Kendara.
That has to be the record.
If it's not, it's close. I think she might be the winner. Although PC Cast is getting up there too. PC Cast has been with us several times as well.
And Dawn.
And Dawn Kurtagich. Although if we just curse this episode...
Shit.
Yeah, Dawn's been with us several times. Oh, and Kendara was also on our Halloween special.
Yeah. I think
she's the winner.
She is the winner chicken dinner.
Yeah. Yeah, she really is. And we love her so much. So go back and check out all of the episodes that Kendara's joined us on. So great.
I'm so excited.
I know.
To talk Buffy.
I know. And see, I was just excited for Kendara because spoiler alert, everyone, I was not a part of this world. I watched the movie, but I didn't watch the TV show, minus like a couple of episodes being on in the background where I wasn't paying attention to them. And now I am in this world.
This blows my mind. My mind.
I know. And there's been a lot of episodes where you talk about Buffy stuff and I'm like kind of pretending that I've watched it and I'm just like, yeah, And you'll notice if anyone goes back and watches or listens to episodes where Buffy comes up, I don't say a lot in those. Because I didn't want to shame myself, I guess.
This is a safe space. We are not judging.
Except we are, constantly.
Except we are constantly, but we're not going to say it out loud.
Right. It's all in the eyebrows.
But, exactly. You have been inducted into the Buffyverse. Wiggle, wiggle. You are now part of the Buffyverse.
I am, and it's thanks to Kendara Blake.
It is. But you know what? Doesn't matter if you've never seen Buffy before.
It's true.
Because this is a fantastic gateway. You don't even have to go and watch Buffy.
Right,
or
you
read
don't.
any of all the tie-in fiction after this. You don't.
No, you don't
because you can enjoy.
Yeah,
you enjoy it.
You don't have to know anything about Buffy to enjoy this book, and I can say that as someone who has not watched Buffy and read the book. It was perfect. I didn't miss anything. I didn't feel like I was left out or left behind or like not understanding stuff. And I'm sure there was a bunch of stuff that was referenced that you got that I didn't get, but the story was still wonderful, and I didn't feel like I didn't know what was going on at all.
That's the sign of excellent writing.
Yes, and
where
I
you're
feel like
able to do that.
I feel like we say that every time we talk about a Kendara Blake book. Like, that's the sign of an excellent writer. Oh, hey!
Because she's so freaking talented.
I know, but
it shouldn't be allowed, but I love it.
I know.
I'm just glad it's bundled up in her.
Yes. It's a perfect little package. I almost said fanny pack, but
It's a perfect little fanny pack.
It is.
It is.
Check out the bonus episode. It's very, very important.
It started.
It's already begun.
Let's start properly.
Yes, let's do. Haley Larson's older sister, Vi, is a slayer and getting ready to spend the weekend at Slayer Fest, a quarterly meetup of all the slayers in the world, including the Buffy Summers. As any responsible half-sister / parent figure would do, she has bought enough cereal, hot dogs, and milk for Haley to survive on for the next 3 months. Haley has lived with Vi since both her parents died in a car wreck 6 years ago. It hasn't been easy, but they've both adjusted. Haley always stays home when Vi goes hunting in Portland. The Northwestern vamps are certainly one of a kind, but it still doesn't make it safe for her. These Slayer meetups are a great time for Haley to chill, read, and eat the stockpile of junk food, so the whole weekend passes without concern. Slayer Fest seems to have morphed from a training / networking gathering to a slumber party anyway, but as Tuesday rolls around, Haley becomes super worried. Vi hasn't come home yet, and she hasn't heard anything from her since she sent a few pictures from when she landed in Halifax. Haley starts to gather her things, figuring she needs to go investigate, when there's a knock on the apartment door, and a man with a British accent calls her name. It's Vi's watcher, Spike, and he needs to talk to her. Insert all the squeeze.
It's something bad's happened, but it's also a Spike. Cut to Sunnydale, California, home of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and her Scooby Gang, and former proud owner of a Hellmouth. Frankie Rosenberg is one of those who knew of Sunnydale's colourful history and is the daughter of the strongest witch in a generation, which makes her keep one eye open. Frankie is sitting outside during lunch at Sunnydale High watching the crowds. Her friend, Jake Osborne, bounds over to her as she's sorting the recycling. Frankie is a bit of an eco-witch, or as Jake likes to say, she performs magic divism. Though they run in different circles at school, Frankie and Jake have been friends since they were babies. Willow, Frankie's mom, has experience with werewolves, so she often babysat Jake, who now lives with his Uncle Oz. It's cousin, really, but the age gap weirds Jake out. They often have family dinners together too, and tonight is one such occasion. As you're finalising plans, Frankie passes out.
Oh.
Oh dear. It's one way to get out,
Oh, it is. Frankie wakes up in her bed the next morning. Strangely, her mom isn't doing her usual chicken soup to the rescue routine. Getting ready in a bit of a fog, Frankie snaps several hair ties and rips her favorite jeans. Then heads downstairs to find her mom on the phone with Uncle Xander, Oz, and Jake sitting at the kitchen table with her. Everyone looks devastated. Buffy is dead.
What?
She can't
I
die
mean, this
again.
is not the first time, or the second, or the third. It's a reoccurring
She's dead,
theme.
okay? She's dead.
She can't die.
She's
Buffy.
currently
Oh my
dead.
God. Oh my god. There was an explosion at the Slayer meeting. Xander and Dawn are in Halifax and trying to get to the retreat site, but it's currently blocked. Giles is okay and has taken what's left of the Watchers' Council down deep. Spike is on his way to Sunnydale after a detour to pick someone up. No one has heard from any of the Slayers. The conversation is a little mixed up when Xander asks how Frankie is doing, and then Willow and Oz start talking about potentials, as in potential Slayers. But the Slayer line has finished, isn't it? Willow activated all the Slayers all at once. No new Slayer has been activated since, despite the Slayers dying. After the explosion, when Willow cast the Scythe spell, she channeled the energy of the Slayer through herself and into herself. Willow didn't know she was pregnant at the time. Congratulations, Frankie, the baby daddy is Senya, the original Slayer, and you're the next and potentially the only Slayer. Yikes.
Whoa.
Yikes.
Whoa.
Don't see that on Jerry Springer.
As Frankie is dealing with this revelation, Spike turns up with Haley in tow. Introductions are made, though Haley already seems aware of the witch who nearly ended the world and Oz, the werewolf. Haley has no intentions of hanging around in Sunnydale, though, and plans to take the bus to Halifax and find her sister herself. Frankie, struggling to deal with the massive events, tells Haley she'll show her where the bus station is, and Jake tags along. They wander around, talking about some of the things that happened in Sunnydale that everyone seems to have conveniently forgotten or don't find weird because they grew up with it. As they're waiting for the bus to LA to arrive, Jake smells something in the air. Blood. Checking around, they find 3 vampires feeding on the station clerk. Frankie shouts that Sunnydale is off limits. It belongs to Buffy Summers. One of the vampires smiles and says, Buffy Summers is dead and Sunnydale is open for business. Yikes!
What? The vampires chase Frankie, Haley and Jake, who unfortunately split up. Frankie is panicking but still manages to trash talk the Kiefer Sutherland impersonator, chasing her into a junkyard. As they are fighting, Spike turns up and shouts for Frankie to use her magic. She calls a hubcap towards her, which slices through the vampire's neck, decapitating it. Frankie realises she really is the fracking vampire slayer. Oh, crap.
Yikes. Back at the Rosenberg house, the main topic of conversation is how the vampires knew about the explosion. Is the Hellmouth open again or leaking? Do vampires have their own Twitter? It seems it is time for Willow to come out of magical retirement. To test her magic, Jake suggests they make sure Frankie's watcher, Spike, has access to her at Sunnydale High, so it would be a good idea to put a glamour on him. Time to make Billy Idol a librarian and ward the school so he doesn't burn up during the day. Oh, I love how he gets put into a tweed suit and he's like, oh.
You've Gilesified me.
Oh, yeah. Like, I don't think it's cool for a librarian to have black fingernails. It is. It totally is. It's okay to paint your fingernails, guys.
It's the modern age. In a demon tavern, there is a celebration. The Slayers are dead, and it's time to converge on the Hellmouth. Milt, the barkeep, prepares the heart of a young woman, Rebecca Granger, and serves it to the brooding demons sitting at the bar. Milt points out that it may not be as nice as a Slayer heart, but it will do now they are hard to come by. Milt has recognised the Hunter of Thrace, a demon with the reputation of eating the hearts of Slayers. Milt tells him of the rumour of a new Slayer at the old Hellmouth.
Oh no.
Ooh.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Frankie and Haley head to the Sunnydale High School library. Well, media center. A huge room that is basically a vampire microwave and is filled with people. Ugh. Spike, or Mr. Pratt, shows his lack of understanding of what is cool now, saying that they're going to set up a Dungeons and Dragons club as a cover for their Slay and D club. Yeah, it's cool now.
He's he's a nerd, but the wrong kind of nerd because he's not a nerd.
Right. Luckily, the library clears out after the final bell, so they can start Frankie's training uninterrupted, but not without an audience, as Haley, Jake, Willow, and Oz come to watch. As Frankie's parentage is a little unusual, they're training her to physically fight, but also to use her magic. It does not go well. While Frankie is having a meltdown, Xander calls. He and Dawn manage to get to the site, but it's not good. They've found some bodies, though they don't know who they are, and there are many more who are still missing. Willow is frustrated that she can't astral project that far to help with the search, but Frankie has an idea. Grabbing Haley and some supplies from the librarian's office, they head out to a spot near the former Hellmouth where it's quiet to cast a remote viewing spell.
Yeah, let's just go to Hellmouth.
Yeah, it's fine.
It doesn't feel smart.
Mm.
What they see is pure devastation. The wreckage dwarfs the searchers. Part of the site is clear, though with scorch marks in a swirling pattern. It looks like a portal. As they're staring, Frankie feels a sting in her eyes, and when the spell is eventually broken, Frankie is blind, but somewhat unconcerned by that. Making their way back to the gang upstairs, they tell them about the potential portal, and Haley sketches it out for them. They'll hit the books with this new information, and Willow will contact her friend, who is a sage demon, for help.
Frankie gets her sight back by the next afternoon. Luckily, Haley took notes in their classes, which they now share. Thank you, Willow, and your computer beep-boop skills. When Haley comes home, Frankie is having wardrobe angst over her outfit for her first patrol. Long sleeves, a hoodie. Ugh. Once sorted, she and Haley head to Sunnydale Cemetery, where Jake meets them. As they walk through the gravestones, Haley finds out that Jake is a born werewolf, unlike his parents and Oz, who were bitten by Jake's older brother. One night, his parents broke out of their cages and got busy.
Patrol could have gone better. Frankie manages to stake newly risen Mr. Palmer fine, but when she starts to chase after formerly Eric Sullivan, Frankie trips over and stakes herself. Cringe.
I love it. I love it so much.
Dang it. Buffy never staked herself. Eric manages to get away and runs to an old mansion where he meets Mega Vamp, the Countess. Ooh.
Training continues the following day, and there are no cookies for Frankie since she's pulling her punches. Haley, however, shows she's a bit of a scrapper and is willing to fight dirty. Their cemetery escapade also makes the newspaper as a grave robbery. Suddenly, there are gold sparks as a portal opens, and out steps the extremely handsome Sigmund DeWitt, half sage demon and portal expert. Whew. Everyone take a second to just fan yourselves over Sigmund, because
He's a man.
Oh, man.
He's a man.
But he's also a teenager, so...
Well, yeah. I mean, I would say he's older, like college age.
Man. Haley, and also us, instantly thirsty. Sage demons have the ability to charm, so she might not be that dehydrated. But just Sigmund is very nervous, and he can't help just ooze all the charm everywhere.
He's an awkward nerd.
After their introductions, it's down to business. Unfortunately, it will take some time for Sigmund to research the potential portal marks.
Oh, all that time he's going to be hanging around and we get
I know, too bad.
The next day, Frankie meets Haley outside school. While Frankie was resting, Haley was making mistakes. Walking up the steps, they accidentally bump into a group of girls taking selfies. Because someone wasn't in the perfect light, they push another girl down the stairs and she snaps her leg. This is made worse when she grabs for her phone to take more selfies, stands on her broken leg, and the bone pushes through. Yikes. All the freaking
All of the yikes
yikes
are in a big pile of yikes.
Frankie and Haley tell Spike and Jake, when they check out the social media page of one of the girls, Jane Montclair, it is filled with selfies and is constantly being updated with the same picture with mild filter changes. It's seriously odd behaviour. During class, Frankie and Haley share with Jane they follow her to the bathroom. Jane is standing, looking in the mirror. Frankie comments on her creepy black tattoo of a snake with beetle legs. Because that's what every teenager has. Jane starts to apply foundation, but it doesn't work to cover her dry, grey skin that starts to break and strip away until one side of her face is drooping and exposed to her teeth. They had to restrain her to get her to the hospital because she wouldn't stop trying to remake her face.
But it is just sloughing off.
It's like the end of Indiana Jones.
Yes, it's just melting Nazi.
Yes.
On top of everything else, it seems that there is a freaking Insta demon on the loose. It's the Instagram demon. Weren't demons supposed to be terrible with technology, though? I mean, think about Spike and his beep boopiness.
It could just be Spike being an old man.
It could be. Straight away, Sigmund is suspect number 1 for Jake, as he saw him tutoring Jane the previous day. Shut up, it's not an alpha wolf or jealousy thing. Really, it's truly not. Sigmund is a newbie, and his half-demon status is enough to force Frankie and Haley to very reluctantly tail him. And he is so boring. Sigmund goes to get coffee and wander the town. It's not exactly nefarious stuff. But then he tosses his coffee and seems to disappear. Dang it! Better tell Spike. When they get back to the school library, who should be there with Spike and Jake? Sigmund. That's who.
Oh.
Sigmund has been doing his job and investigating the portal, so it was required that he use portals himself to get to the site for tests. Also, he feeds on stupid, not making people's faces melt. So while he tutors, they learn, and he grabs lunch.
Ooh,
Convenient, yes. As the Insta-Demon investigation is back to square one, Haley decides to test it by pulling out her phone and posting a cute selfie. Instantly, she has a DM and a follower. college bro 21, who seems to be following the whole school. Very soon after, Haley is craving eyeshadow, foundation, and scented lotions. Her social media is constantly posting pictures from her phone, despite it being in her pocket, and college bro 21 is liking every picture. On Haley's arm, the creepy snake tattoo has appeared. Thankfully, Sigmund recognizes a symbol for a Sucrose demon who siphons energy from people. For it to be pulling this much energy so quickly, it must be a big contract, and the only way to stop it will be for the contract to be completed or the broker killed. While Sigmund stays with Haley, Spike starts the hunt while Frankie makes sure Jake gets home okay. It's a full moon that night, so he needs to wolf out. As Frankie is finishing the Three Little Pigs story to wolf Jake, Spike texts that he's found the Sucro demon's lair.
Frankie heads to the woods near Merrymore Park, where she finds the Sucro demon hunched over a tablet. The demon is tall, very tall, with long hooked talons and sharp, pointy appendages. As they begin to fight and exchange witty repartee, Frankie lets slip she is the slayer, making the demon turn tail and run off into the woods. Crack!
Dang it.
Meanwhile, back in the library, Haley is getting worse until suddenly it all seems to stop. Frankie must have found and killed the demon after all. No, she did not. Frankie got lost in the woods. Bless her. Willow, Oz and Spike find her, and not long after, the remains of the Sucro demon, thanks to Oz's nose. The demon is in pieces, its heart is missing, and its entrails spell out Countess. Entrails are notoriously bad spellers, so who did this?
The Countess has lost her energy supply that she was getting from the Insta-Demon, leaving her hangry. Her trusted right hand, Anton, appraises her of the tunneling work from the old mansion to the city and lets her know that she has a visitor, the hunter of Thrace, Grimlock. He has come to offer his services to kill the new Slayer. All he asks for is her heart. Uh-oh.
Specific dietary requirements.
Oh, no.
He is not vegan.
No.
During a breakfast meeting of the Scooby Gang, they're debating whether the entrails spelling Countess refers to the Countess, Elizabeth Bathory, or a fake Countess. Spike calls bullshit. There are always fakers coming out of the crypt styling themselves as Elizabeth Bathory. Haley suggests that they start spreading the word that Frankie is the new Slayer, because if the Sucro demon was scared of her, the news may chase off the Countess too. Meanwhile, the Countess is enjoying a delicious meal of virgin's blood.
Oh.
Ooh.
Frankie is on patrol in a playground when, as she's hanging upside down from the monkey bars, vampires attack. Haley is waiting for Jake to turn up so they can join Frankie on patrol. He lies to his friends, as cover of course, and tells them that he and Haley are going on a date. Ugh. They hear Frankie fighting, and when they reach her, having staked a vamp on the way, they find Frankie winded, but okay. She took out 2 vampires and a handsome, mysterious, stranger man took out the last. On Monday in the library, Frankie tells Spike about the stranger. Haley recognizes the tall, dark, and handsome description of a man in a photo Vi sent her from Slayerfest. He is clearly watching Vi and the other Slayers in the photo. Sigmund identifies him as Grimlock, the hunter of Thrace, and says that this is bad news. He must have been the one to take out Buffy and the other Slayers.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Willow and Frankie perform a location spell over a map of Sunnydale to find Grimlock. They find a huge nest in the hills. Great. Downstairs, Jake and Haley are picking out weapons. Ooh, a cleaver. Sigmund won't be joining because he's a researcher, not a fighter, and he doesn't think it's a good idea to go after a hunter. Sigmund also points out that he's not too sure Sir Grimlock is the one responsible for the explosion, because what good would it do him to explode all the hearts that he wants to eat? It's an excellent point. Plus, he's had an ample opportunity to kill Frankie. Jake and Haley don't agree.
They're wrong. Piling into Spike's car, the new Scooby Gang heads to the spot the spell burned into the map, an old mansion on a hill. When they reach the house, they find lookouts in the trees and a near constant stream of vampires with tools coming in and out. Then they spot the Countess, resplendent in a gold dress with the Hunter of Thrace by her side. Everyone but Jake wants to attack. Then they realize they've been spotted, and Spike changes tactics. Run! It's a fight back to the car, but Frankie stays to draw the vampires' attention, letting the Scoobies escape. As Frankie runs, the vampires chase. Eventually, she is cornered, and she tries to fight the overwhelming numbers when Grimlock steps up and starts ripping vampire throats out. What? Why is he helping her?
Good question. The stories of Grimlock, Hunter of Thrace, eating Slayer hearts is grossly exaggerated. He fought a Slayer once, but didn't eat a heart. He also didn't cause the explosion. He was actually there to watch over the Slayers, and Buffy and the other Slayers know him. Grimlock also informs Frankie that the Countess is the Countess Bathory. And she can't be killed. She is a true immortal. Oh, snap. He has been running interference, but it's going to become obvious soon what with all the times he hasn't killed her yet. Frankie reports all this to the library the next day. Sigmund has been able to find a reference to a poison called Virgin's Bane that was apparently useful once in taking down the Countess. Across the city, the Countess is planning a party so she may bathe in the Virgin's blood and walk outside again. She also orders Grimlock to find the new Slayer so they may share her.
Haley and Sigmund are left alone in the library and reshelve some of the books they've been looking at. As Sigmund reaches up, a baggie with dirt in it falls from his pocket. He's been portaling to the explosion site to get samples of deportaled air for testing in Willow's lab. A little while later, as Sigmund walks Haley back to the Rosenbergs, they see flyers for a dance that weekend at the school, and Haley asks him to go. He says yes. And as they carry on their walk, Sigmund slips his hand into Haley's. Just before they reach the Rosenbergs, they come across Frankie talking to Grimlock. The demon tells Frankie that Virgin's Bane isn't a poison. It was a virgin who drank poison and sacrificed herself to the Countess in order to neutralize her. Crap. Spike comes along then, and an argument starts. Haley points out that Spike is projecting his issues onto Frankie and Grimlock, and though this may be true, he also has a point that Frankie needs to start following orders more, including not inviting the Hunter of Thrace, who they cannot trust, to dinner the next evening.
She's just being a good slayery hostess.
Right, she's just being friendly.
Exactly. In the Rosenberg kitchen, Sigmund hands the baggie of portal dirt to Willow, who promptly has a taste of it.
Don't eat dirt.
Don't eat portal dirt.
Don't eat dirt in general.
But she identifies that definitely is a portal with enough magic residue to recast.
Oh.
Also, it just tastes plain nasty.
Yeah.
Sigmund takes the remaining dirt and the remains of Spike's dinner, mixes it into a bowl, says some demon language, and the portal opens. As they dither about who was going to go through, Haley jumps in. Willow follows, as do Frankie and Spike. They end up behind where the magic box used to be.
The next day, Spike is training Frankie in both physical and magical attacks. Grimlock turns up as promised, but his presence distracts Frankie, so her performance is only so-so. Grimlock points out that they're training her incorrectly, which annoys Spike, and they start arguing, only to be interrupted by a phone call from Xander. They've found a survivor, Sadie. She's in the hospital, unconscious, and Xander and Dawn are now dividing themselves between Sadie and the site as the search and rescue team were going to change tactics to recovery until they found Sadie, yay, and realized there is a chance that more Slayers survived. Yay. He'll keep them updated.
Slayers are a renowned hardy lot.
They really are. They really, really are.
Frankie is helping Haley shop for a dress to the dance, and while they're searching the racks, Haley wants Frankie away from Grimlock. Though Slayers have a history of tragic relationships, Frankie doesn't need to follow it. They then spot a flyer for a promise dance Saturday night. Celebrate your decision to wait. BYOB. This is obviously a trap, as they know the Countess is gearing up for a big virgin feeding. In the library the next day, Frankie tells them about the party. BYOB could be bring your own blood, or it could be an underground rave. Sigmund has seen this around DC a few times. It's decided that Haley and Sigmund will go to the dance at the school, and Frankie and Jake will check out the promise dance.
Purity rave.
Purity rave.
It's Saturday night, and Haley looks stunning in a new burgundy dress, and Frankie looks amazing in her mom's black prom dress. Haley and Sigmund head to the school dance, but prepared for it to be interrupted in order to save a few dozen lives. Jake is late picking up Frankie, which she expected. When they get to the address, there are loads of people milling about, but no signs of a party. Asking one of the girls standing around, they learn that the real location of the party is at a mansion, and they have really fancy shuttle buses running between them. Time to activate the Scooby Gang, as this is definitely the Countess, which is somewhat unfortunate, as Haley and Sigmund are having a great time on their date. Sigmund even reveals he's thinking about staying in Sunnydale to help the new Slayer.
Oh, wow.
Things take a turn, though, when they spot formerly Eric Sullivan in the crowd, and the Scooby signal is activated. While Haley and Sigmund head to the mansion, Spike will go after Eric on his way out.
Frankie and Jake sneak inside the mansion behind a group of fresh off the shuttle virgins.
Fresh off the shuttle virgins.
Vampire security is everywhere. When they reach the ballroom, Grimlock spots Frankie and doesn't look too pleased. And with the supernatural speed, he reaches her side. He was going to enact the Virgin's Bane plan by poisoning someone at the front of the crowd and not tell Frankie, as he knew she would object. Jake takes the poison, so neither Frankie nor Grimlock can do anything stupid. Meanwhile, at the warehouse, Willow and Oz are dealing with disgruntled teens and vampires, and Haley and Sigmund rush to help. Oz partially wolfs out and fights a couple of the vampires. Willow gives up acting normal and starts throwing fireballs at vamps while ushering teens away. Haley dismembers a vampire to death, and Sigmund uses his mojo to get more of the teens away. Eventually, Haley, Willow and Oz are able to take one of the buses to the mansion to help Frankie and Jake.
As the Countess takes to the stage to welcome her meal, Frankie, Jake, and Grimlock frantically debate what they should do. Chaos. They need chaos. So Jake disappears to create just that. A cry of "Cops everywhere!" has the crowd panicking and making a mass exodus. As the Countess calls for Anton, Frankie makes a graceful and very Slayer-like leap onto the stage and lands next to the Countess. They fight, they banter, then Frankie gets distracted by someone chomping on Jake.
Ooh.
And the Countess utilizes this opportunity to strike. Frankie stakes her, and nothing happens. Grimlock enters the fray, grabbing the banister the Countess was wielding before it hit Frankie. Spike, Haley, Oz, and Willow enter the ballroom. Haley and Oz head for Jake and pull off the munching vampire. Meanwhile, the Countess has turned on Grimlock. He promised her a heart and must deliver, so she reaches into his chest. But her hand leaves red but empty as Frankie hits her over the head. Frankie then grabs Grimlock, shouts to the rest of the Scoobies, and they escape the ballroom. Piling into the bus filled with virgins, Oz drives straight to the hospital and hurries Jake inside, followed by Willow. Sigmund arrives to take over driving so they can take the rest of the virgins home. Tonight has not been a victory.
No, it has not. They are miserable and defeated and exhausted. Sitting around the Rosenbergs' house, every Scooby is banged up somehow. Thankfully, Jake is going to be okay, and Oz and Willow stay at the hospital with him. Tonight was a wake-up call for Frankie. She's the Slayer, for goodness sake. Frankie tells Sigmund to round up all the books on the Countess because they must have missed something. Frankie put a stake in her heart and nothing happened. But something must work because the Countess needs to die at dawn. This is time sensitive now.
It really, really is.
Meanwhile, in the mansion on the hill, the Countess is sulking. The stupid Slayer spoiled her party. Anton assures the Countess she did not and brings out 20 virgins who had been hiding in the wine cellar during the chaos. Perfect. The Countess can have her meal and then go after the closest to the Slayer. The witch? Best not right now. The old werewolf? Soon. The vampire watcher? Yes. Perfect.
Don't you dare go after Spike. Keep him safe.
We will revolt.
You keep him safe.
If Spike
You keep him safe.
is hurt.
Frankie doesn't sleep. She just keeps researching. Spike has returned to the library to continue searching there, and the others have fallen asleep on the books. Shortly before dawn, Frankie heads upstairs to prepare when Xander calls. Sadie is awake and able to talk. Sadie told Xander that Faith died saving her from the explosion. Faith got her out of the way before running back into a building to save Buffy when all hell broke loose. Her resolve hardened. Frankie gets dressed, wearing a leather jacket her Aunt Buffy gave her. As she leaves the house, Grimlock tells her that she looks like a Slayer. He'll also be coming with her to put the Countess down. Thanks.
Sigmund shakes Haley awake with the news that Frankie and the Hunter of Thrace have gone. Quickly getting ready, they head to the hospital and spring Jake and then go to the mansion. They find Frankie and Grimlock walking up the road. After much arguing and denial about needing friends and putting people in danger, they finally agree that the Slayer needs her Scoobies, and she just needs to accept that as fact. Next, they need a whole load of mirrors so Sigmund can light up the catacombs and also create a trap for the many vampires down there. Grimlock points to a dumping ground and vampires made when clearing out the mansion, and amongst all the stuff is a Prada bag, nice, and a pile of mirrors.
Oh, very convenient to have a mirror pile.
It's a well-organised junkyard.
It is, yeah. The mirrors work brilliantly, helping to light the way and take out vamps. Frankie, Haley, and Grimlock slowly make their way through the catacombs, taking out more vamps on the way, when suddenly Grimlock is pulled into the darkness, and formerly Eric Sullivan steps out.
What?
Haley's got this. Eric starts showing off his track skills, and Haley, not being a sports fan at all, only puts up with his shenanigans for so long before the opportunity to stake Eric presents itself. Meanwhile, Frankie runs off after Grimlock into the dark. Casting a spell to create a cool, magical red light, Frankie hears a bellow. Further down the tunnel, in what is obviously the Queen's chamber, Grimlock has Anton beaten on the remains of a box of dirt, Dracula style. The Countess is nowhere to be seen because she has gone after Spike. No, you leave him alone. Stop it. Stop. Frankie suddenly realizes that the Countess is a daywalker.
Oh,
shit.
No.
At the school, the Countess has had her first go at driving and made it to the school library. And the Watcher. He may be protected from the sun by the witch's spells in the school, but that only extends a few hundred yards.
Oh,
no. You leave him alone. You stop it.
Do not barbecue Spike.
No. Do not do it.
Stop it.
No.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Frankie and Co reach the school just as the Countess is dragging Spike to the edge of the sports field.
You stop it. Stop it.
Frankie makes a cool dive out of the moving vehicle and runs towards them as the Countess throws Spike into the air. Before he turns into flamey dust, a mysterious, masked, hooded figure grabs him out of the air and starts giving the Countess the beating of her immortal life. Yes!
Yay!
Frankie can tell it's a Slayer. Is it Buffy? The mask falls as the Slayer, Vi, stakes the Countess, just as Frankie shouts to her that stakes don't work on the Countess.
Damn it.
The fight is relentless, and when Frankie uses her magic to wield her knives to shred the Countess, it gets messy. As the Countess weakens, Vi is able to help, and together they dismember the Countess and scatter her body parts across the field.
They did it! Yay!
They've done it!
Yay!
Well done!
Yay!
Yay!
And that hand over there is flipping everyone off, and that foot over there is trying to kick people. But yay!
Yes.
You did it! Yay! Once the Countess is down, Haley comes running toward them, shouting Vi's name, but Vi puts her hood back up and takes off into the woods, not acknowledging her sister at all. I know, go to the bonus episode for more on this discussion, but she's still a vampire hunter to me on the inside. I don't care what Kandara says. She's lying. Vampire. She's a vampire.
Yes.
She's a vampire hunter.
She's throwing us
She
off.
is. They decide they need pie, which is reasonable. So they go to the bakery down the street before bagging up the Countess's parts to take back to Willow. After many hours of sleep, the new Scooby gang are looking at the Countess's parts, missing her head as Anton took off with it on the Rosenberg kitchen table. Damn it, need that head. The parts are weakening and trying to reassemble, but if the connecting parts are kept separated, it should keep the Countess at bay. I mean, what are you going to do if all of your parts are separated everywhere? Even if they're still living, what are you going to do? I mean, is that one finger going to kill someone? That would take a lot of effort.
No. The little toe is the most deadliest part of the body.
Yeah. There's an angry nipple somewhere.
Bloody nipples, honestly.
Yeah,
they are angry.
They are.
If there's any part of the body that is angry, it's a nipple.
It's an angry nipple. They decide to ship her parts, including her angry nipple, to various people and places around the world to keep her apart. But Willow decides to keep some little bits for magical science. Science! Frankie takes a hand to Grimlock, the same one that tried to pull out his heart. It's a really nice gesture.
Touching it.
Grimlock isn't sticking around because he needs to find his Slayer love, the whole reason why he was helping them all in the first place. But He'll keep one ear open for Frankie, should she need his help. Frankie heads home feeling like the Slayer. Because she is one!
I'm so happy.
It's so good. Okay.
I'm going to squeak.
I know, we need to squeak like.
You
squeak
insert an
wake.
advert. And we will.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Barbara.
And I'm Lauren.
We are the hosts of Badass Literature Society, a book review podcast where we take book recommendations from listeners like you, read them, and then discuss them on our show.
Join us once a month as we dive into the books you picked and talk about them.
And don't miss our bonus episodes covering all sorts of random bookish topics that come out in between reviews.
Don't worry, if you want to read one of the books, the first part of each episode is designated spoiler-free, so you can listen and see if you'd like to read it, and then come back and listen to the rest later.
You can find Badass Literature Society on Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Podcasts, and anywhere else you like to listen.
Now, back to the show.
Did you get all your squeeing out?
No, you're gonna have to put up with it while we discuss, but that's fine. I love
It's fine.
this book
It's just
so
constant
much.
squeeze.
It is.
Constant squeeze.
It's just satisfying all over the place.
Yes.
I'm so glad you are in the Buffyverse.
I know. I'm very, very happy. I'm very, very happy that it was Kendara that brought me in. Because
Yes.
everyone
I
knows.
think this is
Everyone knows how I feel about her.
Exactly. This is a fantastic introduction, and if you like Kendara already, it's the perfect gateway.
Mhm. So good. There is no violent twist though that makes you want to throw the book across the floor, which is pretty key in all of Kendara's other books.
I was waiting for some heavy violence,
Yeah.
but it didn't happen. But then it
But it did?
No.
But it did?
it did, but it
But
didn't
in a
really.
cute way?
Yeah, when the Countess puts a hand in Grimlock's chest
Yeah.
and comes out bloody, that's probably the most blood you will see, because you know what TV series is like, especially young adult TV series, you do not see blood.
No, there's not a whole lot of blood.
Sword fights happen.
You
no
you
blood.
will see a little bit of blood. If this were to become a TV show, hello Disney Plus, please make this a TV show. There will be a little bit of blood, because Spike's got to eat. He's gonna have
but it's in bags. He's literally drinking it out of cups or mixing it with his hot chocolate. Spike drinks hot chocolate blood. How cute is he
I love
now?
I love him, and I really, really loved texting you or messaging you I'm supposed to love him, right? I'm
Yes!
supposed to love him because I do.
Even when Spike's first introduced on the show, and as I discussed in the bonus, I'm rewatching Buffy, and Spike comes in season 2, and even in his introduction, you think, oh my god, this guy, he's awful. William the Bloody, because he's a bloody awful poet.
Yes, which is hilarious.
Oh yeah, and he's nasty. He's killed 2 Slayers already. That's a lot. Most people cannot take a Slayer out. He has killed 2. And his girlfriend is batshit loco with Drusilla. You think, this guy is willing to do anything and everything. And now, he's drinking hot chocolate. Bloody hot chocolate.
And wearing tweed.
And wearing tweed.
Forced wearing tweed.
Forced wearing tweed. But, he's working it with his black fingernails, so
Yes.
that's fine. But yeah, it's it's amazing. It was complete fan service, but it wasn't at the same time because it's a new generation.
Yeah.
And it just, it's a gateway into the Buffyverse and more vampire fiction.
Right? Just what we need. More vampire books to read. As if we don't have enough already.
I want more.
All vampires all the time.
Oh my god. I honestly, we could do every episode purely just on vampires.
We really, really could. I'm afraid that Fictional Hangover is just, as we go through the years, we're just going to shift, and it's just going to be all vampire books.
I mean, we had to come up with the flipping book club theme one month that was, you can have any monster but a vampire, just to make sure we got other vampires in, other monsters in. Freudian slip there. But yeah, okay, it's fine. We're going to run out eventually, surely.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. It's going to be, at least once a month for forever.
Well, exactly, because we still have our vampire book club.
Right, and we can't...
Shout out to our vampire book club.
Yes, it cannot be Vampire Book Club.
Well, exactly.
It's Fictional Hangover.
Yeah, this is Fictional Hangover.
It's accidentally going to become that, and then we're just going to be like, well, fuck. It's all vampires all the time.
Well, when Disney Plus eventually starts sponsoring us, because they are producing the Buffy series that we all need
right,
and want.
And we're talking it into existence, and it is going to happen.
If we say it enough times, it will happen.
Sure it will.
Exactly.
Sure it will.
We're channeling it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they start sponsoring us to do Fictional Hangover, then it's all vamps all the time.
Yes.
And there's plenty of Buffy literature out
Yeah.
there, graphic novels and stories,
Yeah.
etc., that we can even work our way through. And we could even do a podcast for every episode.
Right,
of
yeah.
Buffy.
It's
And I'd be more than happy with that because Disney would be paying me.
right, yes. I would almost do anything to be paid to make Fictional Hangover.
Anywho, we
Stop
should
it,
probably
yeah,
talk about this
because we
book.
have a lot to talk about. Although we did talk quite a bit in the bonus episode, so make sure you go and check that out.
Definitely.
Yes.
Definitely. What stood out for you then?
I'm pretty sure that my favorite part is Frankie staking herself. And that they wouldn't let it go.
I don't think any Slayer has ever staked themselves until Frankie Rosenberg.
She staked herself. Get out of it even happened. So clumsy. So gutsy. But she's fine. Because she's a Slayer.
Yes. She slayed that one part.
She did. She slayed it good.
It won't do that again.
Other standout moments, other favorite parts include the whole just short section with the Insta-Demon, because
I love that.
like, I'm not a watcher of the show yet. I have watched a few episodes now and I love it and I'm in, but to me, in my head, not having watched any episodes prior to reading this book, except for the ones in the background, like we've mentioned before, I really felt like this Instagram demon was a monster of the week, like on Supernatural or on X-Files. And I love the monster of the week. But then you've got the Countess in the background doing all this terrible stuff. And I was like, oh man, this is really cool. It's like episodes of a TV show. It's the Monster of the Week episode. And that's literally what she was doing. And I was like, oh, when I found that out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I adored the Insta-Demon. It's just so... It makes you question your own reality as well. Like, we hear the term influencer all over the place, and I don't like the term influencer, and I don't particularly like the association and description of what an influencer is. And you kind of think, actually, yeah, an influencer is an Insta-Demon. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's not a good thing to be. I would hate to be called an influencer, personally.
Right. Unless we're influencing people to read vampire books.
Or Disney Plus
Or
to
Disney
produce
Plus
this
yes,
program.
yes.
Then that's fine. We have influenced. We are not influencers. I think there's a key difference. But yeah, it just thinks, this is exactly it for the modern age. We need things like Insta-Demons. And there was the jokey comment about, do vampires have their own Twitter? Well, no, because Twitter is such a hellscape.
Right.
They're already in there
It's
anyways.
a cesspool. It's a glittery cesspool.
You don't need to have a separate social media for that. And I just love the fact it's it's that Buffy monster of the week, the supernatural monster of the week, the X-Files monster of the week, because I watched all of those, that's my bag. But that familiarity, that nostalgia was there, but modern day.
Yeah.
That was a perfect marriage of the old and the new. It was,
But the scenes with the Insta Demon and the people who were affected by it were just gruesome. Like the girls standing on the stairs. No, not even that. When they're taking pictures on the stairs and they like fight each other, but they're still taking selfies, and then the girl falls and breaks her leg and it snaps and her bone comes out, and she still stands up trying to get good lighting for her selfies.
The broken bone, in my opinion, in that leg and the description of it was worse than the sloughing skin.
I mean, I like that. I thought that was great. And she's standing in the bathroom, like, trying to put on her makeup, and, like, her skin is just...
Oh, exactly. But my brain, like, you know, we said as we're doing the summary, my brain went down the Indiana Jones route. So
right.
It turned into a bit of comedy.
Right.
Whereas the leg grossed me out more because the bone was pushing through the skin. And that freaks me out a little bit. So that both descriptions are brilliant and wonderful.
Yes, perfect.
And faultless. Yes. But in terms of ickiness, it was the bone that icked me out more than the skin. I mean, if I was to see it face to face, which I don't want to see it face to face, it might be a different story. But yeah, the bone. I didn't like that.
Oh, but I loved it.
I loved it, but but loved it.
What else do I love? I love the Countess and her rude body parts.
I love the Countess being hangry and wanting balloons and streamers at her party and then sulking when it gets interrupted. It's like, excuse me, are you 500-year-old adults? Because she's described as being, you know, a very attractive in her 50s.
Yeah, she's mature.
Mature. I love that as well.
Yeah.
And mature. Like a Lady D in Resident Evil Village. A mature, presenting villain.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
But obviously, the Countess, for her bathing in virgin's blood, her skin is faultless.
Yes, of course.
I think I need to adopt her regime.
Yeah, really. I like that that's all she eats. She only eats virgins, and like, she wasn't turned as a vampire. She just drank so much virgin blood that she was just like, oh, I'm a vampire now.
I am immortal.
Yes.
Yes, honestly, amazing. Loved it. And how Spike is calling bullshit that it's actually Elizabeth Bathory, because there's always an Elizabeth Bathory. And it's like, no, Spike.
It really is. It really, really is.
Oh.
And he's like, bloody hell.
Bloody hell, man. I adored Spike's Giles makeover, by the way. It was perfection.
Yes.
I mean, Spike's been a Watcher for 10 years in the universe now by this point, so he didn't need to be tweedified.
But
if you're going to be the librarian at Sunnydale High, you need to don the tweed, you need the jazzification.
Yes.
And he can change his clothes, but the wrinkles sustain.
Yes, I love that she's aged him. And we learned why in the bonus episode.
Which you'll have to listen to because we're not going to say anything.
No, we're not.
And Jake was not my favourite character. I loved the Jake character.
Right.
But he wasn't my favourite. But I really enjoyed the fact that he plays with a squeaky toy. He's been known to chew on shoes. And he has such doggy-like behaviour at points that it's like, where does the werewolf begin and the boy end? And, you know, the crossover is mighty and it's all tied in. And obviously it's because he's a born werewolf, not a made werewolf.
Yeah. He's always been a werewolf.
Exactly. And he's just so awkward with Oz, because Oz is technically his cousin, But because of the age difference, he likes to call him his uncle. But then Oz also refers to himself as being Jake's parent.
Right.
Because that's the role he is in Jake's life. And it's like, and then they're like, oh, but they're just two bachelors that live in...
I know, they're just
overly complicating their relationship.
Two werewolf bros. Living together.
It's an overcomplication that they're building, but I do really enjoy it. And I'm so glad Oz is in. Oz is one of my favourite characters. He's in the background so much in the show, and every now and again he comes to the forefront and he just Ozifies everything. But, I mean, you know Seth Green as the actor.
Yeah.
He has a type.
Yes. I love Seth Green.
Exactly. And he just shines and steals the scene every time that he's in it. And he's just so dorkishly nerdy, awkward. Yeah. But he's the lead guitar of Dingo's Ain't My Baby, so it's kind of, he's cool as well.
Yeah, he's totally cool.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that we have this discussion about Oz and Willow's relationship in the bonus episode, which we're not going to go into now, because you're going to have to listen to the bonus episode. We are ridiculously annoying by referring so much to the bonus episode, but the content in there is gold. That really, it's a supplement. It is a full supplement to this discussion. Yes. And I'm glad that we get that explanation as to why Oz and Willow's characters have been, you know, are interacting the way that they are. And it's very mature and it's very grown up, and it's, as the nostalgia Buffy person, it's giving me those old style feels, but it's also showing me how much they've matured and become an adult, which I very much appreciate. Yes.
What else do you like? I talked about all the stuff that I like a lot. What do you like?
Exactly the same stuff, to be perfectly honest.
Because it's so good.
It's just so good. I love the fact that they went for pie before they cleaned up the Countess's bits.
It'll be fine. Just leave her there.
It's fine. I love the nod to the tradition of the Slayer for, fancies the demonic person, and really they shouldn't. But they do.
But Grimlock...
I find this one a little bit awkwardly odd. Because Grimlock is 2,000-ish years old and Frankie's 16. And the impression I certainly get is his heart, we do know he loves another Slayer. Right.
We don't know who it is.
But we don't know who it is. We know it's not Buffy. Because she asks, just please tell me it's not my Aunt Buffy. And he says it's not Buffy. So, you know, thankfully Buffy's not having another relationship with somebody. But we don't know who it is. But we know that he's in love with the Slayer. Whether or not the Slayer is still alive or not, we do not know. We don't know what's going on. We should get some resolution next book, which I'm very excited about. Yes. But it's less of the kind of intense relationship that I'm used to seeing with Buffy and Angel, and then later, spoilers, Buffy and Spike. Because it's more of a cute little crush.
Right. I felt like it was just a crush because he is very exceedingly handsome. And of course...
He's a man.
Oh, yeah. Of course you're going to have a crush on man.
Mm-hmm. So, it wasn't icky.
No.
But Hayley and Sigmund's crush on each other is just delightful and gives me life, and I think they are cute and adorable. Yes. Yeah. They're actually my favourite characters, apart from Spike. Spike forever.
Right, Spike.
I love Spike forever.
1,000 times Spike.
Yes. Hayley and Sigmund are my favourite characters, because I love the fact that Hayley is this goth character who has fabulous eyeliner. Yes. That's the dream, to always have fabulous eyeliner. And has this dark sarcastic wit, but she's so capable. She just kicks ass.
Yeah, but it's also worrisome how much she jumps into stuff without preparing. I mean, she got insta-demoned.
She did, and she
jumped through the portal, and that could have been terrible. It wasn't,
thankfully, this time,
but it could have been bad.
Yeah, she's very impulsive, and that she needs to pull that back. it might have been because she's been so well protected by Vi.
She's
She's not been able to let that
she
out.
feels like she's got to prove
previously.
herself, maybe.
I think especially at the moment, because we see Vi at the end. Vampire under
Yeah,
Vi.
she's got to be.
Why would she be so wrapped up?
There's no reason, unless she was exploded and her body parts are missing.
Well, exactly. But I do wonder how much she feels like she has to prove her, like, almost, this is her form of paying rent to live in the Rosenberg house, is to step up and help protect Frankie, to prove her worth, to keep her around. But it's Willow. She's adopted now.
Yeah.
Sorry, Haley.
You're one of the
a
family.
Rosenberg.
Yeah.
Exactly. You need to change your surname to Scooby Gang now.
Yes, that is your last name, not Rosenberg.
official-
Sorry,
No.
for whatever reason. Scooby
Yeah.
Gang.
Scooby Gang. They're all changing their name to Scooby Gang now.
Yes, they are.
And I kind of half wonder how much she's trying. That's what she's doing, is to prove her worth, but then also prove that she is capable of looking after herself, because with Vi not being there, she is alone.
Yeah. But her, like, new BFF is the Slayer, which also, like, makes her feel bad because she wants to be a Slayer. So she's got to prove herself. Like, just, it's a whole, like, a circle.
It is. But she's very capable. Like,
Yeah.
she has that. Spike wants to train her to make sure she can look after herself. And he's impressed by, her initial ability. She can make a steak to perfection. And I'm not talking about a beef steak.
No.
I'm talking about the stabby
steak.
kind.
Yeah, while Jake's steaks are all nubby and stupid looking.
Hers are perfectly balanced, nice long handle.
Yes.
Honestly, like, Vi might have separated Haley from her Slayer life, but she's certainly picked things up somehow.
It's
just innately
it's ingrained.
brilliant. And Sigmund, I do like Sigmund.
Yes.
He's the... I don't know if Sigmund's the new Giles or the new Willow to the group, because he's the nerdy researcher who's the young one, but I get he's like an amalgamation of Willow and Giles to me. And I really, because he's got the magic, but he's got the knowledge.
Right.
And I just like his awkwardness. He's like, I can't fight. I'm not good at that.
Yeah, look at me.
I'm
so handsome. I can't help it, but I'm not a fighter.
And he's just generating this charm.
It's so good.
I do, and I appreciate the fact that Jake goes a little bit Xanderish on Sigmund at first, and it's this like alpha male jealousy. You're coming and stepping in my ground. But then after a very short period of time and no angsty annoyingness, the friends.
Yes. But
Jake's like, no, I will cook. This is my domain. You go and research.
But do you think that Sigmund could potentially be charming him because he can charm everyone? So he's just oozing a little bit of charm out. So Jake's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're fine.
I think Jake's too much of a doofus. With all due respect, he's just a goofy little doofus who has seen that Sigmund is not a threat to his group. He can actually enhance it. So it's welcome to the pack.
Okay.
And he can see that Sigmund is not a threat. Like, if you want to go down the wolf route, he's not a threat to the hierarchy.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't think Sigmund's... He might have been using a little bit of Juju at first, but I think it's fine.
Well, also, he doesn't always realize that he's doing it, so...
No, if he's nervous. Completely off topic slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever heard of the Venga Boys? It's a group from the 90s, and they released a song called, I think it was like Venga Bus or React Pie, I can't remember, but one of the lines is, the Venga Bus is coming and everybody's jumping.
Oh, I know that song.
Yeah, the Venga Bus is coming.
Yeah, I know that.
Everybody's jumping.
Yeah.
All the way through, when we got to the Virgins, I kept thinking,
Virgin
the
bus
Virgin
is
bus is
coming.
coming, and everybody's jumping.
Yeah, mhm.
You up to San Francisco, the interstate for disco.
Yes.
So yeah, it's the Virgin bus.
It's the Virgin bus. I really enjoyed the Virgin bus. And the Virgin rave. I loved everything about all of that. It was ridiculous.
It was. Countess thanking Emil's beforehand. I mean, that's
Stop
very
it.
polite.
Yes. And then Jake's like, "Oh no, the cops are here!" And everybody's running like, "Oh no, we're gonna get in trouble." And there's no one there. There's no cops there.
Yeah.
Raid! We've been busted. It's good. And then all the virgins flee, and they get on the Virgin bus.
I can't lose my scholarship over this. My parents will go crazy. That was so funny. It was a delight. The warehouse in my brain. I don't know if you'll ever encountered the Bronze in the episodes that you've. The Bronze is a nightclub that
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. Mhm.
Yeah. So for the people who haven't watched Buffy, the Bronze in the show is a nightclub where they just hang out, and I think it's only really for the first couple of seasons, and then it kind of fades away and is forgotten about. And in my head, the warehouse was where the Bronze used to be, and it might not be true.
It would be a
But
good
yeah,
place
that's
for a
what-
virgin rave, even though that took place at the mansion, and it wasn't
Well,
actually
it's
a
the
rave.
start. And it's the starting point.
Right. Where they get on the Virgin bus
With their
with their
glow
glow
sticks.
sticks. Yes.
The Virgin bus is coming and everybody's jumping.
Anyway, is it time?
It is time. It is very much time.
These are hard. These are a hard would you rather.
I've read the questions once and then that's it. That's all I do. I only ever read them
Right?
once.
Because we can't think about the answers. We just have to come out with them. So isn't it nice that we send them to you in advance? Because otherwise it would be a million times worse.
Yeah.
It's terrible. It's terrible anyway. I love it. Okay,
Let's
what's our first
dive in.
question? Yes, please.
So the first question was the one we asked on social media, so we do have a few comments to read as well. And it was, would you rather be a watcher or a slayer? Ooh.
Ooh.
On Facebook, it was 57% watcher. On Instagram, 63% slayer. On Twitter, 100% watcher. And on TikTok, 80% slayer.
Wow.
Yeah, I was actually surprised by the bounce around. Because if we go through the comments, because we do have a few good ones, they all seem to lean in one direction. For example, Drew on Facebook, this is a rough one because they both kind of suck. But I think I would go with Slayer and get some cool powers. Caveat to Drew, she is a massive Buffy fan.
She really is.
She knows the ins and outs of the job description. So yeah, I can understand why she thinks neither's got good job security, really.
Oh, Annie on Facebook said, this is one of those shows I somehow missed most of it, but of what I remember, I really want to be Buffy, so Slayer?
True. Constance said, I'm thinking Watcher, being the chosen one is cool, but being in the library reading upon all your cult and doing research sounds more fun to me. I mean, hello, Giles and Spike. She is so thirsty.
Yeah, she really is. I mean, everyone is for Spike, though, right?
Yeah, it got real thirsty on the chapter this week.
It did. It really, really did. Staff Inc. Creations on Instagram said, see, both, because she always cheats and says both. And she says, become a chosen one, then train the next one in line with all the awesomeness. P.S. I really should try to watch that Buffy show one day. So she hasn't watched it either.
Brie Tart on Instagram said, Watcher because I would live longer and get to read all the books and do all the magic and have all the weapons.
I really like her response.
Yeah.
YA Under My Skin, Amy McCaw, says, Buffy makes being a Slayer look good, but in reality, I'm more Watcher material. I do the research in my cozy library while someone else goes out and gets pummeled. Can I do it dressed like a Slayer, though?
Of course.
Of course. Of course.
And other fellow author Gail Carriger said, Watcher. Which is completely understandable if you know Gail Carriger.
That's right. That's right. All right. So what about you, Kendara? What are you doing?
I thought maybe those comments would help me make up my mind. But like, it's a question if it's like, do I get to be Buffy? Because then if I get to be a Slayer and the Slayer is Buffy, clearly I'd want to be Buffy. But if it's just Slayer or Watcher and they're both me, then I would have to go Watcher because I'd be the fastest killed Slayer in history. I would be insta-dead. Whereas a Watcher, I feel like I'd be a fairly crappy, overprotective Watcher, but, you know, I'd make it through at least a season.
I'm glad you give yourself a whole season.
Yeah.
That's good. I don't think I would make it a whole season if I were a Slayer. So I'm going to be a Watcher because already a librarian. It's basically the same.
Same. I'm a research assistant, so it's the job description.
Yeah.
So I'm a watcher, but I want the Buffy style. I've been rewatching Buffy this week, and things that it's all coming back to me. And I remember wanting to dress like her and desperately shopping to dress like her, especially the sunglasses. I used to try and have my Buffy hair. And remembering the music, I had the music on CD. I don't own a CD player anymore, so I don't have the CD. But yeah, I'm getting all the Buffy feels. So I'm like, yeah, I want to be Buffy, but I want to be the Watcher more. With the secret past, like Giles. I want the Ripper past.
Yeah, like, and sometimes you just let that fly out, you know, like in Band Candy, and just shock your Slayer. Yeah. That's important.
All right, next question.
Yes.
Would you rather go to the school dance or the purity rave? And you can treat them as if they are actual dances without vampires attacking, if you choose to.
Do you want me to go first?
Oh, yeah, you should definitely go first.
Okay.
I'm still thinking.
All the way. This one, all the way. Not only because I hate school dances, and I've always hated school dances, and ew, but because the purity rave is friggin' catered. It's catered. There is fancy punch and all the hors d'oeuvres. There are charcuterie boards. There are cheese plates. I am going there, and I am never leaving. I mean, even if I knew that it was going to get attacked at some point, I'm going to try to get as much, you know, snack foods in me as I can before that happens.
Right. Eat all the cheese before.
You sold me on the cheese.
It was the cheese. It was the cheese that did it, yeah.
Yes, you said cheese board, I'm there. The vampires can just nibble on my cheesy blood. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, is it silly that I want to go to the purity rave, but like for the rave part, you know, like the glow sticks and the neon lights? Yeah, that's... I mean, I've never been to a rave in real life, but if I could go to a purity rave, I'm going to go there.
I've mosh pitted before. Does that count?
No, it's not the same.
Damn it.
Because you didn't have a glowing pacifier in your mouth.
No, I've never had a glowing pacifier. I've had glow sticks, and I've moshed.
It's weird how the minute you put glow sticks in your hands, it's like you feel like you can dance.
But you're wrong.
You can't, but you feel like.
Do you have the disco exercise classes in America? It was like a massive fad that was going on. They still happen in the UK, but less so now because the pandemic's killed off a lot of the classes. Probably literally. And you get dressed up in your neon stuff. You put your neon tutus on and your leg warmers, and you get the glow sticks, and turn the lights down, put the disco music on, and then they have basically an exercise class, but it's a rave.
No, we did not. We did not get this, and I feel cheated.
Should we start it?
You should.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, pandemic's kind of winding down now. We could have some safe classes, and
yeah, I
think people are going to be in the mood for neon tutus.
Yeah, I think I'm going to make this a library program.
You should. It's exercise. It's positive. And, you know, affects mental well-being as well. You're getting the whole thing. But then afterwards you can go and eat the cheese board.
Right. There will be a cheese board there as well.
Yeah, that should be how like the last 10 minutes of class are spent.
Yes.
I could be lured to any trap if there was a cheese board involved.
Yeah. It's a cardboard box with the stick and the
Yes.
cheese board.
If there was coffee in there as well, because there's the age-old question in my house of what do you prefer more, coffee or cheese? And a year later, I still haven't answered that question.
I don't think I could put them together.
Oh, it's
Oh.
amazing. It's amazing.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Good
Yeah.
cup of coffee, really nice, mature, really sharp cheddar.
No, I don't want to do that.
Maybe it's because I oversugar my coffee.
Me too.
Mm.
If you have really
My coffee's
coffee,
mostly cream.
Oh, mine's bitter, bitter, bitter coffee. Like my soul.
Mm.
Now that might be nice. Together. Sharp cheese, bitter soul. That might be nice.
Yes, I like it. I feel like that needs to be a shirt.
I was just about to say we need that on a shirt.
Don't worry, I'm taking my notes.
Anywho, speaking of sweet things, would you rather date Jake or Sigmund?
Oh man. Now this was the really unfair question because you can't ask me to choose between my boys,
You have to.
Scooby men.
You have to.
Oh,
You need
I
to pick a
love
Scoob.
and Sigmund so much. Okay, who do I feel like would be more compatible? That's how I would narrow it down. And honestly, even though my brain says that Sigmund and I would be very copacetic, my husband's more like Jake. Big, dopey, happy,
Shoes on shoes.
super wagging tail all the time.
Has a squeaky toy.
He does. Oh my God, he has a squeaky toy. He does.
You married Jake.
Jake!
Oh yeah.
You can see the revelation just hitting. This is amazing TV.
Yeah, everyone needs to make sure they join the bonus tier so they can see it happen
Yeah.
on Kendara's face.
I married Jake. So yeah, Jake.
I think that I'm married to Sigmund then because Jacob is very charming, like with everyone. And, you know, he's also really smart. And he maybe enjoys being smarter than other people around him. So, yeah, I'm gonna pick Sigmund.
I'm gonna
Also
pick
the
Sigmund,
portaling.
yeah.
Hello, portaling.
That would save you so much on
Yeah,
travel.
it really would. It really, really would.
And I think it's probably better for the climate as well. So, you know, if you were going down Frankie's route and being concerned about it,
Yes.
I can imagine it being, you know, zero carbon neutral.
Yes.
I hope portaling is carbon neutral. I mean, I don't know if they've actually studied that, like the energy consumption. You know, where does portaling generate? I mean, it's not obviously gas-powered portaling, so it must be better.
It must be.
It must like suck the energy out of one place but poof it somewhere else. So it might even itself out.
It might.
The science of portaling.
But what if you go from like a really polluted place to a non-polluted place? Then are you spreading the pollution because you've poofed it there?
That's an excellent question though, because if you've portaled, how solid is that like portal gateway? You know, do you have to physically try and pass through it, or do the gases pass through as well?
It's a really good question.
We need Sigmund.
Question for Sigmund.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we need to ask him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think Jake would get on my wits' ends. I would get the chew toy and throw it just to get rid of him for just 5 minutes. It's not a case of, you know, opposites attract. It's a case of, Jake, I love you, but you're my friend. He's solid friend zone material. Because then I can just leave him at home and then have a break. Whereas with Sigmund, I think he would respect the fact that I'm like, I'm going to go upstairs and read my book for a little while, or, you know, I'm going to go and play Xbox for a little while, or I just need some me time. I think he would respect that because then he would enjoy me time as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Sigmund.
All right. Would you rather be in Buffy's time or Frankie's time?
That's tough.
Mm.
But I was in Buffy's time. This is like asking.
Do you want to go back to your 16-year-old self? Oh, do you want to be 16 now? Is that the question?
Not necessarily, but if you're breaking all the rules, which we do often.
There are
Can
rules,
be.
we can break them.
Yeah.
Because you could take this question however you want. You could be, are you 16 in either era, or are you going to be Buffy's age, 16 in the 1990s, and basically like Willow's age now? I am the same age as Willow.
Like, I'm going to take the easiest way out and say that I already was in Buffy's time, so I'm going to, like, Pee Wee Herman the answer. Say that I don't have to see it, Dottie, because I lived it. And that's...
Yes. Thank you for that. That was very good. I'm glad you Pee Wee'd it.
You don't often get a chance to Pee Wee anymore.
You really, really don't. And
You
it's
should
a
always take the
shame.
opportunity to Pee Wee whenever you can Pee Wee.
Yes, definitely. Sheesh. I don't know which time that I want to be in because I feel like, I mean, I need to have a revelation here, which we're going to have to talk about later on. But I've only watched a handful of Buffy episodes. I really liked the movie as a kid, but I didn't watch the TV show. I mean, I have watched several episodes now, recently, as in last weekend. I watched like the top 9 episodes or something, but
Oh my gosh, I still want to know which episodes those are.
I will
Later on, we must talk.
Yes, I will. I need to share the link. I'll send you the link that of the episodes that I watched. But like I love everything that happened in Buffy, and I need to watch all of the rest of the episodes. But now, getting into this world through Frankie, like I kind of want to be in Frankie's time. I'm a newbie. I'm a newbie Scooby.
You're a new Scooby.
So yeah, so I'm gonna be in Frankie's time.
God, I don't know. You see, I could easily Pee Wee Herman it as well.
You just wanted to say that you would Pee Wee something.
I always want to Pee Wee something. I usually tell you I'm Pee Weeing before we start recording as well.
That's right, you do. I'll be there soon. Gotta Pee Wee.
See, that's the problem. The problem is the moment, because of, like I said, I'm rewatching it again, and I'm getting all the nostalgic feels, and I'm remembering being 16, and my body is failing me at the moment. I want to be back then in the 90s, but being a 16-year-old was freaking awful. Like,
yeah, no, thank you.
No, I like the internet. My friends are all on the internet.
My only friends are on the internet.
I have friends who live 15 miles away, and I internet them more than I ever see them face to face. So, can I live with it? It feels like it's boiling down to, can I live without Wi-Fi? The answer is no. No. I'm a millennial through and through. I need to live now, but with 90s house prices.
That's it. Yeah, let's do that.
No, I think I'm gonna have to be Frankie's time. You know, I wouldn't mind being the Willow of the piece, or the aging Watcher, or being with Giles on the Watchers Council, because I've lived it, I've done it. So yeah, Frankie's. At least then you can mould the new Scoobs a little bit, perhaps. Yeah. Take the wisdom. Yeah, now Frankie's time.
All
Plus
right.
the bangs. You won't have hit a lot of the episodes where the bangs are just like this wispy little thing just here.
Oh, the bangs, yes.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's just the wispiest little thing, and then that's it. That is the bang. I can essentially do it now.
I mean, that's the 90s.
That's the 90s.
It's the 90s and the early 2000s.
The UK hairstyle in the 90s was to have a bit thicker on the hair. You tie at the front, and then you tie the rest back. And then that's it. You just have these thicker wisps of hair at the front dangling down, getting in the way.
That's Spice Girls. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or the alternative was you have a full-on fringe, a full-on bang, and you have 2 cans of hairspray, one to put under the hair, and the other one to actually spray it into place. That was a thing in the 90s as well.
It's really
not good.
No.
It's not good.
No. I did the thing where you make this part big and round with a big round brush.
Oh,
It
wow.
was sexy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta say, it was probably the sexiest thing I've ever done. What is our last question? Yikes.
Would you rather have 90s hair? No.
No!
Would you rather be the Countess or Grimlock? This is a hard question.
Mm. Yeah, because, I mean, the Countess had so much fun. But, you know, Grimlock's like a hot, broody demon.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather be Grimlock. Yeah. He's ancient. He's super hot. Like, stupid hot. And, you know, he doesn't have any of the vampire limitations.
Mm-hmm.
He can go out whenever he wants to. And he's just less vulnerable. I mean, he was not scared of the Countess, so between a 1-to-1 it would have been a really close call.
Yeah, he wasn't bothered that she stuck a hand in his chest.
No.
Yeah, and he's got like the cute little fangies and the eyes that flash, and
Yeah.
I think he has a really good wardrobe too.
Yeah.
You only sometimes have to eat hearts.
Yeah, or organs. I mean, you can pick and choose your organs, and then you kind of absorb the essence of those organs. So
we've all been to Scotland. Well, Amanda's never been.
No.
We've all heard of haggis. That's just basically organs. So just have some haggis. You're fine.
Yeah, and you can be really selective. I feel like it'd make mealtime more interesting.
Cheese board. Cheese board.
You could have the cheese board.
Perfect.
Like if he was to eat your liver, Claire, I feel like he would just have insatiable cravings for cheese and coffee for like a month.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I got wrong tonight for wanting to put too much cheese on my dinner.
That's not a thing. That doesn't exist.
Well, that's my argument, but I got shut down. So I'm trying to eat as much cheese. Trying to be good.
I don't know why you would ever do such a thing. I'm going to answer this question now. I am going to be the Countess on account of the bathing in blood.
Yeah.
And I'm doing it.
To be Elizabeth Bathory. Oh my god, that bitch has style. Oh, I've loved Elizabeth Bathory for all the fact that she was a murderous person. And I've just got panache. You can't deny that. Yeah, she's bad. I like her.
Yeah.
Do you remember that movie Stay Alive, starring Malcolm in the Middle?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm glad that it's
villain in
Malcolm
that
in the
video
Middle.
game was Elizabeth Bathory. That was like such like a fun concept and such a terrible, like delightful, terrible film.
Yes. Really, yeah. It's not a good one.
Yeah, but it's so much like I would watch it, and if it's still on, I'll turn it on. I'm like, this is fun. I don't care. It's stupid, and I'll watch it forever. Throw a rose, Frankie Muniz. It's great. Yeah. That was the best. Like, try to make this horror video game, and the way that you save your life is to throw a rose. Throw a rose. Yeah, gamers love that.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, like it's like Moonlight Night, you know, like Tuxedo Mask. We just throw a rose.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so weak.
Jessie from Pokemon also throws roses. Yeah.
Jessie's got style though.
Yeah.
I will not have a bad
No,
word
it's
said about
James.
Jessie
It's
or
James that has the roses. It's James that
It
has
is,
the
yeah.
roses.
Jessie did
sorry.
go through a period of holding a rose as well, but James is the iconic rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that in like anime? Is there like a rose hero theme that a rose is the only appropriate way to interrupt a conversation?
Maybe. I feel like we need to research this.
I think we need to like do it. Like this needs to be a thing.
Like we should actually start carrying roses around in case we need to just interject.
Yes.
Yeah.
Throw a rose and say our point.
Exactly.
Yes. That's what you do.
You can make it a thing. I try not to question anime. It's just bonkers as it is. So just
It's good. That's a good policy. You just go with it. You just watch.
Just don't ask questions.
And then if somebody says something weird or dirty or involves snakes or tentacles at any point, you go, I've seen enough hentai to know where this is going.
Yep.
I haven't, but I do.
Yeesh.
Yeesh.
Okay. So it's the end of Would You Rather. Favorite final thought quote?
Okay, out of the many that I know are there in the book, gosh darn it.
Yes, all of them. The
I'm gonna
whole
give-
book.
I'm going to, yeah, from page 1 to 300?
I don't remember. I don't know.
392?
I don't know because I listened to it even though I own the book. Which is what happens.
I did both. I'm going to give you 3.
Okay.
Every dress is a goth dress with the right eyeliner and boots.
Yes. It's true.
Spike was in Sunnydale now, but was anyone ever really afraid of Spike? That line stood out to me in the audiobook as I was crossing a very busy road and I was giggling. And my last one, which links to the bonus episode, that was all cheese, which I kind of love. What are yours?
All right. Let's see. One of my favorite things about Kendara Blake's books, which I haven't said and I didn't say to her, was that I love that she has chapter headings.
Oh, God, that was
I know. It's so wonderful. But I really love that she does that. So one of my favorites was Billy Idol, but make it librarian. Because, I mean, librarian. Hello. I also really like, let's see. Jake, if you start marking territory, I won't hesitate to spray you with a bottle of water. I also really like, you can't grow up around that kind of power and not dream of it for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
And then, finally, because it's true, because it's me, referencing you, I know dirty British slang when I hear it. And then move to the bonus episode. Because there's a very great conversation about dirty British slang that we've also talked about before.
Yes. Oh my God. Callbacks.
So many callbacks. Okay. If you liked this, try this. What do you have?
Oh, I struggled.
Right? Me
I
too.
struggled.
Me too. And I think it's funny that you did what you did because I was going to do that too, but with something different. Awkward,
Fair.
but you'll understand when we share what we're sharing.
Fair. I was going to do a Buffy book. I initially wrote down in our script I was going to do a Buffy book. But then I changed my mind. And I'm going to tell you to go and read Mina and the Undead by Amy McCall. Which I have said before.
Right.
But not only said before on recommendations, we have discussed this on this podcast, episode 136.
Yes.
Plus the bonus episode with Amy.
Right.
But it's there in the 90s. It just calls back to all the vampire fiction, media, everything that we adore and love. So, yeah, it's not even a hashtag tenuous link, it's hashtag right in the mix.
Yes, right there.
And to top it all off, today, of day of recording, the sequel, Mina and the Slayers, the cover was revealed and the pre-order links went up. And it's coming in September 2022. And if it doesn't have a vampire hunter in it,
we're quitting.
We're going to be very upset.
Yes.
Yeah. Strongly worded tweet.
Also, already pre-ordered it. Because of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Of course. So, The summary from Goodreads. Mina is staying with her sister in New Orleans for FangFest 1995. She's thrilled to land a job in a horror movie mansion, reconnecting with her sister while they scare the tourists. When Mina stumbles upon a body of work, she's dragged into a murder investigation. Someone is replicating New Orleans' darkest myths, and Mina must discover the truth before she becomes the latest victim. Now, there are Buffy references in the book, but it's Buffy movie, not Buffy TV
Right,
show.
because Buffy
because
TV
it's set in
show
1995,
doesn't exist
and
yet.
Buffy TV show didn't exist yet. Exactly. But Keith Sutherland being a vampire is certainly referenced.
Yes.
The end. Can we give Kandara's recommendation?
Yeah, I think that we should give Kandara's recommendation. She suggests Buffy, the Last Vampire Slayer by Casey Gilly and illustrated by Joe Jarrow, which is a graphic novel. Buffy. It's fantastic. Do we want to read this summary? Can I just say what my recommendation was going to be, but then I'll read this summary?
Yes.
Okay, so my recommendation was going to be that you read Kendara Blake's other vampire book, All These Bodies, which was one of my favorite books of last year, and we talked about it, and we talked to Kendara about it, and we also talked to Matt Godfrey, the narrator of the audiobook, because that was perfection.
He's so nice.
So nice. You know, I was talking to him on Twitter the other day about The Faculty.
I read the thread.
Yes. So
do you know what episode All These Bodies is?
no, because
164.
because nobody knows the episode numbers.
I do. It's
You do, but
164.
it's
Go and
not
check it
public
out.
for the world to know.
Well, it gives you an idea.
It does. Go back and listen to that episode, those episodes, all three of them, because they were great.
October last year.
What?
October last year, I think it was.
Yeah,
November.
ish.
There we go.
Fall.
2021.
Yes. But now back to Kendara's recommendation that we have to share. Buffy, the Last Vampire Slayer. On an alternate Earth ravaged by climate change, vampires daywalk unimpeded under a polluted sky. Hey, we know another book with daywalking vampires because the sun has gone away. Empire of the Vampire, Jay Kristoff. Please go back and listen to all of that. I know. Oh my god. Okay, but anyway, even amidst the dystopian harmony between the vampire regime and their human cattle, a hardened 50-year-old Buffy Summers stumbles across hope in the form of a little girl that believes she is the last Slayer. A rebellion is brewing, a new Scooby Gang for Buffy, led by a secret leader. Can this familiar face, along with Buffy and the rebellion, turn the tide by bringing back the sun through science?
Science!
And possibly even magic!
Magic!
We've talked about both of those things. Which do you prefer, science or magic?
Both!
All of them. The multiverse explodes as writer Casey Gilly, Star Wars My Little Pony, and artist Joe Jarrow, Firefly, along with colorist Joanna LaFuente, Fence, and letterer Ed Dukeshire, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, wow, so many amazing things, bring you a dystopian tale of Buffy Summers as you've never seen her before. And now they're all wrapped up in a collection, Kendara says, so you can get the whole thing together. And it's great.
Love it!
So great. So great. Everything about it is great.
Do we have an indie spotlight then?
We do. We just got this one today, day of recording, and this book doesn't come out until October, but it's called Dead Man's Hand by James J. Butcher, who has a very famous father author, if you recognize the name. So anyway, debut novel. On the streets of Boston, the world is divided into the ordinary, usuals, and the paranormal, unorthodox. And in the Department of Unorthodox Affairs, the auditors are the magical elite, government-sanctioned witches with spells at their command and all the power and prestige that comes with it. Grimshaw Griswold Grimsby is not one of those witches. After flunking out of the auditor training program and being dismissed as not department material, Grimsby tried to resign himself to life as a mediocre witch. But he can't help hoping he'll somehow, someway, get another chance to prove his skill. That opportunity comes with a price when his former mentor, aka the most dangerous witch alive, is murdered down the street from where he works. And Grimsby is the auditor's #1 suspect. Proving his innocence will require more than a little legwork, and after forming a strange alliance with the retired legend known as the Huntsman and a mysterious being from elsewhere, Grimsby is abruptly thrown into a life of adventure, whether he wants it or not. Now, all he has to do is find the real killer, avoid the auditors on his trail, and most importantly, stay alive.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, it might help. I thought it sounded super fun, and it's not out yet.
It does.
But we learned about it, so.
If it's anyway influenced by their
Other
relative,
the other butcher.
the other butcher, then yeah. Sold.
Right. Okay. Well,
I'm gonna go and watch more Buffy.
I know.
Bye.
I need to go and do that too. That is it for this episode of Fictional Hangover. Remember to go and check out the bonus. I know we keep mentioning it, but it's really, really good. So go and check out the bonus episode. I'm Amanda.
And I'm Claire.
Join us next time as we discuss Horrid by Katrina Leno. Look out for our Would You Rather polls on social media. Don't forget about our book club and monthly challenges on Facebook. Be sure to visit our shop on Redbubble at fictionalhangover.redbubble.com for all your favorite Fictional Hangover themed merchandise, and become a patron of ours on Patreon at patreon.com/fictionalhangover. Until next time, remember, the only cure for a fictional hangover is another book.
You can find us at fictionalhangover.com, follow us on Instagram at fictionalhangover, find us on Facebook at facebook.com/fictionalhangover, and on Twitter at fictionalhangover, no ER. If you like this episode, check out our others and rate, review and subscribe so you don't miss out. And finally, special thanks to Liz Emerson for our music. You can find her on Facebook and Patreon. Thanks for listening.